So once you have your collage finished, this is what mine looks like. You can kind of see like all the gauze on it, cardboard, crayons. Um, you're going to paint it all so it has a unified color, just like the work of Louise Nevelson. So everyone should have a cup of paint that you got in your supply kit. If it seems like it's separated, just give it a little stir, and that will be fine. And this should be enough to cover your whole board if you use the 8x8 board that was in your kit. And you're just going to start painting, and you can use the brush that you got, um, marking period 3. Now, one thing about this is if you used fabric, it'll, because you're now using paint, it's going to kind of weigh down the fabric, which might not be a bad thing. You might, you'll see the texture, but it'll be kind of a little bit more flatter on your board. So there might be a little bit of a greater contrast. It's hard to see right now because I'm using dark paint, um, and the paint is also wet, so it's shiny. All right, but you're just going to paint this completely, cover up all the items that you have. Make sure there's no color showing except for your paint color. You might have to do a few coats if it's a light colored area, like here on my popsicle sticks. I might have to do a few layers. So what I would recommend is that you do this, do your first layer of paint, let it dry for like a day, or, if you do it in the morning, just like let it dry until the evening, paint another layer on, and then let that dry overnight. You have to take your picture when the paint is dry. All right. I will not accept images where the paint is wet and shiny, because then I can't see what I'm looking at, which happened to some of you when we did the salt dough coil pots. The dough was wet, the paint was wet, and the whole thing just looked like a huge mess. So please make sure that you are doing this with enough time, that your paint is dry, and all that shine will be gone when the paint dries. You also want to make sure that you are taking your final photograph in a well-lit area, especially if the paint that you got is dark, like the one I'm using right now, the dark green. Some of you got brown, some of you got black. So you really want to make sure that you're doing your final pictures in somewhere that has a good light source, because otherwise you won't be able to see all the stuff that you've attached to your assemblage. So 2 things to keep in mind: make sure that your paint is dry, and make sure that you have really good lighting when you're taking your final picture. This is kind of a theme because you had to take a picture for your paper textures in a place that had really good lighting in order to bring out all that detail. So, now that we've been doing this all year, you've been photographing your work all year, I think this is something that you can all handle, and, and that we can like present our work in kind of a better way than just, snapping a picture and not really caring what the final result is. Now now on, we care what the final picture looks like, because that is really the work of art when all is said and done. All right, so I will finish painting my assemblage here and take my final image and post that to the lesson.